Connecting the dots, connecting his guests to the world, creating more connections. Welcome to The Connection with your host, Jay Miralles, podcasting from the Parkville Studios.
Welcome to The Connection. I'm your host, Jay Miralles, and this is episode number 3. The mission of The Connection is to connect the dots, connect my guests to the community, to their business, to themselves, and to the world. And today, I have the founder of Glovebox Greetings. Yes, and his name is Brian Rademacher. Brian, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, let's break the ice, okay? So you know the first question. Tell me something interesting about yourself that nobody knows.
Well, I guess that would be when I was 19 years old, I tried to buy a golf course, believe it or not. A lot of people do not know that about me. So
oh my gosh.
I went out and raised about $330,000, made an offer. Golf's a passion.
Yes.
Didn't work out, but that's all right.
What made a 19-year-old want to buy a golf course?
I saw the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, you take it.
Yeah, man, that's a big feat over, 19 years old. Most of us are still trying to get our first apartment at 19.
Correct.
Yeah,
Which I was trying to do it at the time as well.
So, well, good. Let's just jump right into it. Again, this is about connecting you to your business, to your personal life, to the world, and we're going to talk about Glovebox Greetings. Let's talk about what it is. Please tell me what Glovebox Greetings is.
Okay, so Glovebox Greetings is a membership-based greeting card company, and currently we're marketing to men. The idea is to strengthen relationships. So how it works is this, is for $20 a year, you get 8 greeting cards that covers every event during the year. So Happy Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Merry Christmas, Happy Anniversary, Birthday, and then we have 3 other cards just because, thinking of you and I'm sorry in that packet.
Sorry. I love the I'm sorry part.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that. It's worked out pretty good so far, we think.
Yes.
So how it works is for $20 a year, you get a membership. We send you the 8 cards. They come to your house. The idea is put them in your glove box to be used for those dates. And then 7 days before every special occasion, say your anniversary or Valentine's Day, we send out email reminders that tell you, the gist of the email is that, hey, we've saved you time, we've saved you money. Now we ask that you take 5 to 10 minutes of your life to reinvest in your relationship by thinking of a heartfelt and sincere message to write to your wife.
So when let's go back to the how. You saw a hole in the market. What is the hole in the market? Because I can get a greeting card from, I don't know, maybe a store. I can order them on Amazon, or I could just do other services. What was the hole that you saw that was so important?
Well, I mean, in relationships, a lot of times, when we start out in relationships, we're into them in the beginning, right?
Yes.
I mean, you fall in love, and
yes.
you have that energy, and you have that
enthusiasm.
Excitement about the relationship, and then as you go through time, life tends to take over, right?
Yes.
I mean, you have baseball games, and you have, you name it.
Yes.
Meetings at night, and,
yes.
and business to attend to. And, what we forget to do is, or what we end up doing is we end up going through the motions, right? So Valentine's Day comes, and we just go through the motions. We go buy that card for $8, which
yes.
is overly priced, right?
Oh,
Overpriced.
absolutely. And the time that we take
Correct.
to buy that Valentine's Day card.
Correct, absolutely. So the idea is this, my thought was, hey, if we can make it easy for men to procure the cards, right, and we can switch the obligation from having to give the card to actually writing the message, then you've impacted a relationship. Because at the end of the day, we all want something that's sincere, heartfelt, and genuine to us and our relationship.
And I think as guys, our communication function for most guys is not very efficient, or we're not good at it, because we were talking one time, bring me back to, we celebrate guys when they run the 400 meter
sure.
or when they make $1 million, everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. So the way I describe that to you, and the way I've been describing it to other people, is that the only way to get to intimacy in a relationship is by being vulnerable,
yes.
right? But as men, it's very difficult to be vulnerable, right?
Yep.
we're held up in high esteem if we can, and the way I worded it is if we can hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball,
Yes.
or if we can land the hot blonde, or if we
Yes.
can make $1 million.
Yes.
But if I tell my wife that she's the greatest thing that ever happened to me in the world, and my friends find out, then I become emasculated too often.
That's true, right? That you made fun of. They poke fun at you and they say, oh, you're a sap.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I like to say is that none of us are better off because of it,
No.
right? I mean, we want to live in a world where I can tell my wife she's the greatest thing that happened to me, and people will be accepting of that, right? So how I term glove box greetings is this, is that if you get a membership, we won't ask you to be vulnerable, right? But what we will do is we will, through offering suggestions on what to write in the emails, right? We're going to leave you right at the front door. So if you decide you want to be vulnerable and get to that intimacy, it's yours for the taking.
So this email that I get kind of guides me with some suggestions on what to say and what to do, and not the words themselves, but it's provocative thought that might not, because here's what I write. Love you, honey. Thank you so much. Our life is great. You're an awesome mom and an awesome wife. That's not really.
I mean, it's good, right?
It's
I mean,
just good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. But the idea is to reflect on your relationship. So one of the suggestions that we have is, hey, recall a date that you went on with your wife.
Yes.
That you absolutely loved, right?
That's deep.
And tell her that you enjoyed it, and say, hey, I would like to do something like that again, or that again, right?
Well, yeah, because I might say, instead of saying, oh, you're a great wife, I might say, this day reminds me of our time in Cancun 6 years ago when you had that red, dress on and we went to dinner in Mexico. That, to me, is more heartfelt. And they connect with that, right? And we talked about communication. Written word starts wars. It solves wars, treaties, contracts, everything, right? When we write, that's so powerful. Tell me how important that is to the piece of your business.
Oh, the writer to the message?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's important to the relationship, right? I mean, that's what we're promoting. Is it important to our business? I don't know. I mean, we'll find out long term, right?
Sure.
But the reality is, and in test marketing this idea and talking to women's groups and men's groups and marriage counselors and pastors, I mean, what we found out is that everybody said, yeah, this is what we need more of. I mean, we need this, whether it's in a business relationship, whether it's in a personal relationship. I mean, we need to connect on that level, and we need to understand it. Can I share a story with you?
Please,
that gets to
I
that
want
point?
you to. Yes.
So I reached out to my cousin who's a great friend, and I've worked with him on and off for years, and I wanted to tell him about this idea in hopes of maybe getting him to join the team or whatever. But he was telling me that he said, it's so funny you should bring this up because. He said, on our 14th wedding anniversary for my wife, he said, I was trying to figure out what I should do, right? And he said, I happened to run into a woman that was buying gifts for her 14-year-old son, right? So at wedding anniversary tied up with his birthday. And he said what she did is she went and she bought 14 little gifts. And he said, I got thinking to myself, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy 14 little gifts. And he said, I didn't spend more than $25 for all 14 gifts. But he said, in addition to that, what I did is he said, I bought 14 greeting cards. And he said, 7 days before my anniversary, he said, I wrote a note to my wife and I recalled a time that I enjoyed before we were married.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
He said, I did that for 7 days. Every morning when I left it on the counter. She came home, was ecstatic.
Of course.
Right? Anniversary date, we went out, we had a date, had a blast. 7 days after, he said, I recalled a moment in time that we enjoyed together after we were married, right? And he said, it was the most phenomenal thing for my relationship ever. He said, we've never been closer since that day because I actually hit on something that she wanted to hear, she wanted to understand, that made an impact.
And she's not going to throw that away anytime soon either. She's going to put that and she's going to hold it as long as she can because it is written word. It's not typed. It's not an email. And here's the other part. Just when you get something physically in a mailbox or even on a desk and it's handwritten, that's one of the first things I open up, and we don't get enough of that. Can you talk to that? Can you talk about that?
Oh, yes, that's true. That's true. I mean, I don't know how to explain that. What we talk about, my partners and I, is we always give the example of, if you're a $2 million a year real estate producer, for example, right? You never hang the picture of the $10,000 commission check on the wall, right?
No, of course not.
Ever. You don't walk into somebody's office and see that. But what you do see on the wall is you see the thank you note that says, hey, you made our life easier.
Yes.
You made our life better.
Yes.
You provided something that was of value to us.
Absolutely.
Now, that's a business relationship. I mean,
yes.
Think of if I'm out grinding 60 hours a week at my day job,
yes.
and I come home and my wife gives me a card or vice versa,
right.
and it says, hey, I appreciate all the time you've been putting in to support the family. I mean, it's a game changer.
It is, because, and it's not a bottle of wine, it's not a bouquet of roses, because those are too easy to get. Those are simple. And you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. You go to the store, give me that first bunch of roses, here's a bottle of wine. But how much time did they, it's a good thought, I'm not downing that, but to sit down in serenity or in peace and just write some good thoughts, to be around someone and to say, hey, I really enjoy our time together. Man, that's strong. That's romantic. And honestly, I don't do enough of that. And because I tell my wife, I'm not going to, hey, let's not get anything for our birthdays anymore, because we're the couple who says we have everything that we want, right? We have everything that we can buy ourselves all year long. What do you get for the person who gets everything they want anyway? It's a written card.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree.
No. So, Brian, tell me about a time in your life where, like this might help you, or might have helped you in your past. Like, obviously, there's a pain point to every entrepreneur that fuels their fire. What can you speak to that really said, I'm gonna do this? Was it a personal story? Was it?
No, you know what? For me, I think what it is that. So we had a launch party a few weeks ago, or a couple months ago, excuse me, and I explained to everyone there is that I failed miserably in relationships in the past, right? I'm divorced twice, and
so getting to the connection here. This is the connection.
Yep, and for personal reasons, there was a lot of reasons that it didn't work that had to do with me specifically, right? Not that I was a bad guy, not that I was, just personal reasons that we won't get into here.
Sure.
What I explained to the people there is that one thing I've never had a problem with is getting to intimacy. Right.
Yes.
And that is because I'm a pretty open book.
And you're a communicator. You're an effective communicator.
Correct. I believe I am. Yes. So what I shared with them is that I've never had a problem getting to intimacy. Right. Because I don't fear feeling vulnerable in any way.
That's huge.
I own my mistakes and I own my own flaws, and I have no problem with that. I guess that's kind of the catalyst. Is I see so many people, and I get approached by so many people because of my ability to be vulnerable. I think people see me as an opportunity to share their own struggles in life.
To connect with you and say, me too.
Correct. So they'll share that on a one-to-one basis, and what I have always struggled with is I see so many people that are in a relationship, they're in a long-term relationship, right? Yeah. So they've had a marriage that worked,
right?
But it's not working.
Right. They're just there now.
And I always say to myself, why can't you just flip that on its end? Right.
Yes.
And if you make the effort, you might see that relationship improve significantly. Right.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, let's connect with a listener right now. There's a guy out there right now listening to you right now saying, been in my relationship with 5-10 years, and I've never done anything like this. Brian, talk to that individual right now how important your service is. Or just the concept?
I mean, it's everything. It's everything. When we were doing the research, we had met with a marriage counselor, and I proposed this idea of doing a 8-week challenge or a 12-week challenge or 20-week or whatever it takes, right? And the idea being this is that every week you put your differences aside, right? And you write one nice thing that you remember about your wife or that you like about your wife, right? And the idea, is you start small. You do 1 week, and then it flows into week 2 and week 3 and week 4.
Absolutely.
And eventually what happens is the bitterness kind of subsides, and you find out that, this person does really care about me. Because by the time you get to week 5, week 6, week 7, right, if you truly didn't care about the person that you're with, you're not going to continue to do it.
Understand.
Right? It would have been done at week 2.
Right.
So there's a... Yeah, I guess I don't know how to word it any other way other than words are so impactful.
Right.
You know,
that makes sense. It makes sense. And I think as busy as we are, we never take the time. And I think what this represents is the time you're taking to transfer your feelings. And I'll ask you one more question before we end. What surprised you the most when you launched this business? Because you're an inventor. You like to come up with you're lots of ideas, right? I mean, I think you're very brilliant. When you launched this, you're looking back now at your day one to day now. What surprised you?
You know what? I don't know that I've been surprised, but here's what I'm going to tell you: I'll give you I'll ask myself a different question, and that is what's the best thing that's come out of this so far? And I'll tell you this is that the night of the launch party, it was very successful. I think we had 250 plus or 300 plus or something like that. Filled the room. Yes. For the most part, I kind of botched the speech, but whatever, that happens. But at the end of the night, as I was packing up, I was the last guy that left, and a waiter came up to me and he said, "Sir, I just want to tell you that when I get home tonight, I'm going to wake my wife up and I'm going to tell her how much I love her and how much she's done for my family, because I don't think I've ever told her that before, and she should be told that." And that's why we're doing this. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's why we're doing this, is because that is, it's just so impactful.
Brian, I can imagine you're going to have many stories, and you already have many stories like it. I was super impressed by it. I have my card already ready for my wife, and I'm telling you, like, I'm so excited because I know there's thought that I actually put into this, the ease of the system that I'm going to be able to she'll wake up tomorrow with that, and she'll have that, and it will be heartfelt, effectively communicated words. And I can't tell you how that email provoked me to really think before I just wrote down, great, happy Valentine's Day. Like, it's not about Valentine's to me is what I even wrote on there, right? It's not about Valentine's. And it was so good. And I really sat to myself, and I feel really good about doing that. I just hope she receives the card as the great well. But it's an amazing system. Any last thoughts, Brian, before we, how do people get in contact with your product? How can they search you on the web and on Facebook?
Yeah. So we're at gboxgreetings.com. So it's
gboxgreetings.com.
Yep, gboxgreetings.com. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we're out there.
Absolutely. And I can't imagine how affordable, your product is so affordable. But your mission is not to just monetize. Your mission is to make an impact and a difference in people's lives. So I appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's awesome. Thank you for being here on The Connection, where we connect my guest to the world. Thank you for being on, Brian.
Thank you.
A Parkville Media Production.